is Bright. So today we're going to talk a little bit about something called sleep hygiene. What I mean by that is just sort of our nighttime routines and, the habits that we have when we're getting ready for bed. Um, Sleep hygiene to me is something that I stress to all my patients. And I do this because it's actually, a drug-free alternative. As we know, with any medications comes side effects. And, this is just sort of some very minor changes that we can make on our own that can improve our quality of sleep. And it comes, without having to take any sort of prescription medications. And it can still lead to the same result. So we'll dive right in. And what I wanted to talk about first is when we talk about sleep hygiene, we have to ask, how much sleep do I actually need? And as adults, we do need 8 hours of sleep every night. And this is really important because as you start to miss sleep, just say, for instance, you get 6 hours of sleep. The next night you get 7 hours. The night after that, maybe only 5 hours. As you can see, you are losing sleep throughout the week, and this is ultimately going to lead to something we call sleep deprivation. And this is going to have, really serious effects on your mental as well as physical well-being. People don't realize that, something as simple as not getting enough sleep can lead to really serious things. Not only are you going to wake up tired in the morning, you're going to have that brain fog and you have to go to work and sort of just, muddle throughout your day. But there's, some physical conditions that can come from not getting enough sleep each night. Things like obesity, diabetes, high blood pressure, and even heart attacks and stroke can come from simply not getting enough sleep each night. So this is something that we have to take seriously, and we have to be very informed about and have a goal and a plan to make sure that we are getting an adequate amount of sleep every night. So to do this, what I suggest first is that we are going to wake up and go to bed at the same time as much as possible, preferably every day. I do know, with kids and things like that and work, it's not always possible to get someone in bed at 9 o'clock on the dot every night. But as long as we can keep it sort of in the same time frame, that is, what we're trying for. And this is just so that, your body gets used to what time it's supposed to wake up and what time it's supposed to go to bed. If you start training your body now that you need to be able to get tired by 10 o'clock so you can be asleep by 11 and be able to wake up at 7 o'clock in the morning without, having to be rolled out of bed in order to get to work. And so in order for us to do this, we do have to sort of make our own schedule that we can hold ourselves to throughout the week. And this should include things, like what's my work schedule? What time do I have to pick up the kids? How much time do I need to set aside for homework, dinner, bath time? And making sure I can get the kids in bed before, I can even wind down and get ready for bed myself. And this is something that, just like, waking up and going to sleep at the same time, we need to aim to have these, everyday tasks sort of completed around the same time. And that's, not only is it something that's going to train your mind, your body falls right in line. So if your body knows that for the past 3 or 4 nights you've been going to bed at 10, 11 o'clock, on that fifth night you might see the difference and realize, oh, it's 9:30 and my body's tired. Awesome. Okay? And so we also want to allow time in that schedule to sort of develop what I call, our wind down routine. All throughout the day, we're just, get up and go. What do I have to get done? We're sort of, running through that checklist. And you do want to make sure that, I'd say an hour or two before bed, that you have enough time to just sort of allow yourself to wind down from the day. Sort of turn that mind off. Don't think about work tomorrow, or the project that the kid has to do turned in Tuesday and it's Monday. And we just sort of have to give ourselves enough time to say, okay, it's time for bed. I have to relax. We can do this by, getting our hot shower in. Me, myself, I have a chair in the living room that's, just my quiet space. All I have beside it is a lamp, and I read my book for about 35, 40 minutes. And, after that, I'm already winding down. I'm already getting tired, and my brain's sort of slowing down, from Facebook or, watching TV, anything like that. It's sort of just allowing yourself enough time to get quiet and comfortable and let your mind realize that the day's over and it's time to go to sleep. All right. So, and now that I mentioned reading a book, what I do want to say that a lot of people don't really do is in our bed should only be for sleeping. And this is because when we do things like have TVs in the bedroom or have your laptop on the bed or your cell phone, we're not associating our bed with sleep. We're associating it with just sort of like hanging out like you should on a couch and, getting other last minute work done and stuff like that. But you really do have to train your mind that when your body lays down in the bed, it's time to go to sleep. And another tip, going right along with this, is you don't want to lay down too early. Okay, so if you've made that schedule like we talked about, and you've set your bedtime at 10 o'clock. Okay, say 10 o'clock rolls around and you're not sleepy. You don't have to go jump in bed right away just to maintain that schedule, because when you get in there, you're going to lay in bed, you're going to toss and turn and roll around, and you're just going to realize that you're not sleepy. And we all do that. We lay there and we're like, oh, I need to be going to sleep, I'm not tired, and it just makes it sort of worse. It's just, a vicious cycle. So if you have to stay in the living room in the den reading your book or magazine till 10:30, 10:45, if that's what it takes, then allow yourself the time to do that. And that way, when you go into your room and you do lay on your bed, your body and your mind are tired enough to go ahead and go off to sleep. And this is again training yourself for that quality sleep hygiene, and that's going to associate your bed directly with sleep. Okay? And so in our bedrooms also, we want to create sort of this oasis for ourselves. It has to be a comfortable place, a place that we associate with going to sleep. Like I said, we try to restrict the TVs in the bedroom and stuff like that, because we want to, when we walk in our bedroom, our mind goes, yawn. Oh, I'm sleepy. And so to do this, we do need it to be dark. There's the blackout curtains and stuff at Target for $5-10. These are a sound investment. Take my advice on that one. Because anytime you see lights, whether it be from outside, TV, or phone, you're stimulated and your brain's, aroused. It sort of wakes up a little bit. And that's what we're avoiding when we're trying to wind down and get ready for bed. So you do want to make sure that you have dark curtains so that none of the street lights or anything like that, or headlights from cars going by, are disrupting you and, sort of waking you back up after you've done all that work to get really tired and get ready for bed. Okay? Another thing is that sleeping in a cool room is a lot easier and more comfortable for most people than sleeping in a hot room. You all know you've went in there on a summer night and tried to lay down and you stick to the sheets, and it's just not good. So actually the average temperature is around 68 degrees that people can sleep in. You can adjust that higher or lower depending on like your personal preference, but a cool dark room is something that you want to strive for. Quiet as much as possible. I know that most people don't live alone, So you'll always have, some background noise. But you just want to sort of create this quiet, cool, comfortable space. So when you walk into the room, you're not stimulated by anything, and it just sort of reassures your mind that it is time for bed and that you do need to wind down. Okay? So the next thing I want to talk about is, diet and exercise. And it's just as important with sleep as it is any other, doctor's office or medical condition or anything like that. Um, so we do want to eat healthy. Um, and we do want to limit our heavy meals like dinner and things like that to earlier in the evening. And this is because, digestion is an active process. So pretty much when you eat, your body has to work to digest your food. And your body can't work that much when you're asleep. So if you, eat a real heavy meal, an hour before you're ready to go to bed, then your body is still active and it's still, actively working to digest this heavy meal that you were just eating. And you're not going to be allowed to go to sleep that fast because your body has to process this. A light snack or something like that might be okay, but definitely no heavy meals later in the evening. And exercise should be limited at least 4 hours out from bedtime. It's actually, most effective during the morning, an hour or so within waking up. But if you do exercise in the evening, it needs to be at least 4 hours before you go to bed. And this is for the same reason as the digestion. It's an active process. It's something that gets your body stimulated and, aroused. And so if you've just worked out, your heart's beating, your endorphins are pumping and all this, it's not encouraging your body to go to sleep at all. It's, stimulating your body actually. Some other things that we want to avoid is alcohol, smoking, caffeine, is suggested 6 hours before bed. So if, you were going to bed at 10 o'clock, I'd say, 2, 3 o'clock, you really want to drink that last soda pop or anything and then sort of switch over into, water or something like that. And that's just, again, so that you're not stimulated and your body is actually, able to quiet down and relax and get ready to have a good night's sleep. The last thing that I wanted to talk about is, in today's world, we're surrounded by screens. We have, our computer screen, laptop, TV, cell phones. And this is, for obvious reasons, going to sort of restrict people's sleep. Um, so I know that, we do encourage people to, kind of cut the cord an hour or two before bed so that, again, and just preferably maybe read a book instead of scrolling through your phone. But to be honest, most people aren't going to do this. It's just something that we're so used to, laying in bed and scrolling through our phones. But, if we end up having to do it or, we just like revert, there's something that we like to talk about with our patients. It's called like a blue light filter. And most of our phones do come with this option. And if you just go through your settings and your display settings, on my phone actually, I can set it to a timer. So at 7 o'clock every night, my phone switches from, it cuts on the blue light filter. And this, you'll just see a sort of difference in the hues. And it goes from the blue lights, which is what we see during the day and stuff like that, that stimulate our minds and sort of keep us aroused, to like a more subtle tone that allows us to, still look at our screens, but it's not so bright and so intense that it's, just keeping us awake throughout the night as we're scrolling. So these are just a couple of the tips and the tricks. I actually do have some pamphlets and some information that I can send home with you tonight so you can read up on it. I know I told you a lot of good stuff today, But these pamphlets will just have this information repeated, so that if you did want to go home and make any of these changes tonight, or whenever, you can go ahead and start. And like I said, this is just a healthy alternative to some of the prescription medications that people are often using um, to aid in their insomnias and stuff like that. So if you do have any questions, feel free to call the office and we'll help you in any way we can. All right, thank you.